तिलक लगा के मिट्टी का तू बाजी आज लगा ले, ओ तिलक लगा के मिट्टी का तू बाजी आज लगा ले, तुझ में जो चिंगारी है उस शोला आज बना ले। जान लगा के खेल खिलाड़ी, ओ जान लगा के खेल खिलाड़ी, साथ हमेशा स्पोर्ट्स इंडी, शान बढ़ा तू रहे अगाड़ी, जीत की भाषा स्पोर्ट्स इंडी।
Hello and welcome to one more episode of the World of Sports on the Sports Indie channel. Well, Olympic 2020 have already begun a year later, and these delayed Olympics are also very, very special Olympics. And ask me why. Well, because for the first time they are without any spectators in attendance, and of course that is due to the COVID health and safety measures. But apart from that, for the first time, a transgender athlete will compete in Olympics. For the first time, the International Olympics Committee has allowed athletes to display their commitments to social causes, actually. And the 2020 Games have the highest number of events in the history of the Summer Games. Nearly 49% of the participants, as has been told in the Games, this year will be women. So, may the best team win. India has already opened its khata by having the silver for itself. And yes, we are going to discuss a lot about sports once again on the World of Sports. Before I call upon today's guest, may I invite Supriya Badwe, the CEO of Sports Indie, and of course the brain behind this entire program. Supriya ji, namaste.
Namaste. Namaste.
And a very good evening. And yes, Supriya ji, once again we are here with our guest and with the discussion and interaction on sports as well. So let's go ahead. Let me just talk about today's guest and how special is he for us and for everyone here. Well, we have with us a shuttler. He's a trainer, a coach, a mentor, a sports administrator. He is an engineer. He's, of course, an engineer. You're wondering what he's doing here. We'll ask him about that. He's an engineer who has an impressive career in badminton. He's a double bronze medalist at the 1982 Asian Games in New Delhi and has his name in the Limca Book of Records for being the first Indian doubles pair with Mr. Diza winning a medal in individual doubles in Asian Games. He has served as the Vice President of the Badminton Association of India, that is BAI, and has also been the ex-president of the Maharashtra Badminton Association. He has held various positions as office bearer and has had 37 appearances for India in various international competitions like the World Championship, Asian Games, Commonwealth Games, the German Open, All England, Thomas Cup, and so on and so forth. And the list continues to go so. Please welcome the recipient of Dhyan Chand Award, which is a Lifetime Achievement Award conferred by the Government of India. We have with us Shri Pradeep Gandheji. Pradeep ji, namaste and a very good evening. Now, Supriya ji, to formally welcome you on this show.
Thank you. Yeah, we welcome you, Pradeep ji, on this platform of Sports Indie, and we are eagerly like to hear from you amazing story. So, looking forward.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, amazing stories. That's what we try to bring in also, along with the experiences and the motivating aspects of the sports personalities. So, Pradeep ji, let me just shoot some questions to you, and we'll also have Supriya ji, comment, give her comments in a while in between as well. But let me begin with this. Badminton is a sport that is often considered as the fast-moving and a very, very exciting sport. How did you, as an engineer with a degree in journalism and a diploma in business management, how did you gravitate towards badminton? So you will tell us your story about it.
Could you just ask the question once again, please? There was some interruption.
Never mind. I am saying that you have had a degree in, you are an engineer, you have also done your journalism, you also did a diploma in business management, and then you moved towards sport and something like a badminton. So how did you gravitate towards that?
Yeah, during I was born and brought up initially at the initial schooling was in Nagpur, and the
Mhm.
whole atmosphere in our house was very sportive. My father had been throughout in sports. He was that time before Maharashtra state was formed before 1960. He was
Mhm.
the secretary of physical education in CP and Birar government. That was the present Madhya Pradesh. And when the Maharashtra was formed, so he was asked, where would you like to shift? So naturally, he opted that I would like to shift to Maharashtra, and that was on during the 1st May 1960, and that is how my schooling was there. And then while doing all that, the being having an atmosphere of sports in the family, uh, every time we used to get some opportunity to play, but there was no professionalism, there was no concept of coaching, there was no concept of many tournaments or any exposures. We just used to go and play whatever we could. In the meantime, my mother, both are not alive. My mother was an education officer in Jilla Parishad, and she was principal of the women's school in Nagpur, Patwardhan High School, a very famous school. So we had a mixture of education and sports. So their primary, since that time, there was no career for sports. So they always felt that it builds the good physical health, as well as that helps in leading a good life, and you are more informative. You learn all the various ways how to handle the scenario in life. So accordingly, sports was being played, but never knew that I am going to be an very competitive player or going up the way what I have reached. So my engineering started, and even though when I completed engineering, I was just an university player, and I was representing even basketball. I had come up to the state level of basketball, and then after that, I shifted to Mumbai and got a job in Mumbai Suburban Electric Supply. That is now Adani Electricals. And when I joined there, I had come for one tournament here in Vanita Samaj Dadar, and there was no communication, no proper address. And then Naren Tamane, the great cricketer, wicketkeeper of India, he was with Tata Sports Club and he picked me up. It was very difficult for them to reach me because I had no message, nothing was available, and somehow it was coincident that someone shouted by my name. I stopped and they said, "You are called at Tata Sports Club." And when I joined there, then I opted, being an engineer, I would like to, after my sports career is over, I would like to move on to my professional career. And that is how I joined Tata Electric. When I joined Tata Electric, I was keen on my future plans. Post sports were very clear. That is how I went for management. And I completed that 3 years of Bombay University. And in the meantime, I started getting a success when I shifted to Mumbai. Mumbai as a karma bhumi, and of course my daughters both are born in Mumbai. So Mumbai is not only the karma bhumi but is a janma bhumi also, and that is how I started progressing. And I have seen all over the world and all over India, whatever support or whatever good wishes you get is only from the Mumbai people. This is
Really?
not seen even in other places. So that was
Okay.
an good appreciation and moral boosting side.
It's not for any reason that people want to settle down here and explore their opportunities as well. But I love this story that we have been talking about. It is so much interpersonal. It has got layers. I mean, on one hand, it is your persuasion of academic achievements, and on the other hand, side by side, it's getting into the sports. And I'm sure both have helped each other in one way or the other. As you
Yeah, yeah,
said, you join management, and then the sports part is also taken care of, isn't it?
yeah, yeah, sure.
Yes, I want to come quickly to Supriya ji. We have been, of course, we are going to refer to Olympics once again a little later. I'm going to get some comments from Pradeep ji also. But Supriya ji, India's best performance in Olympics was in 2012. We ranked 56th in the medal stand. But then in the next one, which is in 2016, we slipped. We slipped to 67. Now we look forward to Tokyo and we already have a silver in our hand. But I want to ask you, because the fever of Olympics is already on, I want to ask you which games or which players are you going to follow, Indian or otherwise?
Okay. Very good question, Priyambada. So amazing, like Tokyo Olympic, 11,000 players, 33 sports across the world. And this time in Olympics, surfing, skateboarding, and karate, sports climbing, baseball, all this have been added. So it's again a lot of interest for everyone across the world. I love specifically gymnastics and athletics because during my school days, I used to play, I participated in athletics, so always I like to follow. Yeah, badminton, we have amazing players like Saina has won earlier. Medal in Olympic for us. Sindhu is there. So we have good players for who have done something. PT Usha, who just lost her medal by few seconds. So this is all history is there for this game. So these are all like I follow all these games. Specifically, means like Praveen Zadhav, Deepika Kumari, Apurva Chandala, then Saurabh Chaudhary, Mirabai Chanu, who just won this medal today for us. And these are specifically few players from Maharashtra. So wherever, whichever game they are representing, we are always proud of them. And we, wherever they will participate, I will like to follow them. Sure, Adal.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we
According
have
to
had the largest contingent.
sorry.
We have had the largest contingent so far.
Yeah, yeah, yes, yeah. And the US's 24-year girl and energetic gymnast Simone Biles, she has won almost 30 Olympic medals and world championships, and she also claimed 4 medals at 2016 Rio Games. So she's the most good performer as for me when the world is concerned, and I always like to follow her. So as far as gymnastics is concerned, and for like other for regaining world game, it's like 200-meter champion No Lee is a favorite for gold in Tokyo. So Liz, who overcame severe asthma pain as a child and has made a good records in 200 meters, is like always a great inspiration to me. So this way I just want to follow athletics, badminton, and wherever our players are representing. That's whole package as a Olympic is very interesting. No.
Yes. I was just about to say, because they don't happen every day. Olympics doesn't happen every day. In
Yeah.
fact, this time it has been a year later. So as you said rightly, the whole package is worth being a part
Yeah.
of. And also, Supriya ji, what do you think? How do you think we as an Indian or India can be a sporting nation? I think this is a very valid, considering that the Olympics fever is on.
Yeah. So now there is good progress is happening as far as sports industry is concerned in India. Government of India has initiated this Khelo India. So lot many facilities are coming through this sports platform. Again, IPL has become a very great event across India. Pro Kabaddi has been very successful since last many years. So everyone is now, there is, I think there is, this is a time where people has or young generation has started focusing sports as a career. And as we discussed in last few episodes, that this Pro Kabaddi and even IPL, they have created many career opportunities as far as sports industry is concerned. So, like what we always insist on, sports ecosystem as a sports indie platform, manager, mentor, physician, physiotherapist, psychologist, dietitian, nutrition, all, even event manager. So these all careers has been evolved since last many years. So I think sports as a attraction for the country has emerging in a large scale. And I think for India to be a sports nation, I think nothing is impossible. To make India sporting nation, hunting of sports talent across India, specifically in rural areas, and providing them with a world class training, assuring them financial stability, organizing some mini Olympic games, or Asian games, or maybe what government has already initiated, Khelo India. If it will happen continuously, those all players will remain in some pace, and they will get motivated to perform best in at global level or at the world class level. So I think, and as I mentioned in my last episode, that I think creating a sports community to start with say like a very initial stage. If we start promoting sports at community level, it will get elevated till my national level, and definitely India will become a sports nation. No doubt about that. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure about it, and we can take not steps but strides towards it, as I would think, considering that there's so much is happening around us, isn't it?
Yes.
Supriyaji, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being a part of this episode and giving your comments and your views on a couple of questions that I have posed to you. So I would now turn back to Pradeep Kanthe, who's with us now and who has been patiently being a part of this conversation. Pradeep, you have competed and you have won double bronze in 1982 Asian Games, silver medal in men's doubles, and a bronze medal in men's singles in the Austrian Open in 1983. I was just running through the CV of yours. How was that experience? I'm going to take you back a little and ask you about that. And how do you think the world of badminton has changed since then? Has it?
Yeah. Firstly, I think this medal was in Asian Games, that is in 1982. So almost is 38
Yes.
Or maybe 39 years ago, or how much you work it out.
Roughly
So
4 decades.
40 approximately. So things have definitely changed, but as far as the game and the style is concerned, it started changing during that time. It was there, and there is further, you call it in the refinement, if you could see, or little addition of speed was definitely there that time. The domination of South East Asian countries was much more all over the world. China, Indonesia, Thailand, not that much Japan, but Malaysia. And then slowly his domination got reduced by other countries coming on the horizon. That time, first time in 1982, government had made some good plans that since India is going to be host, so we must try to build the image and increase the image of Indian sports. And that is how a lot of money was poured in for the national camps. We were in camps for almost nearing 2 years. This has
Okay.
never happened before. Yeah, we were, of course, there was a circular by the government that wherever we were working, they had to give us special leave, and we were in the camps at a stretch for 4 months, then a 1 month gap, and again back to the camps. And that has transformed everything. When the Asian Games scenario started, that time a lot of exposure was given to the players of big halls, because the shuttle travels very slowly. So your timing also can miss if you are set to a small indoor hall. So all those things with continuously being there, that has always helped in building up the tempo, building up the spirits of all the sports. And when actually the time had come to perform, then we never felt that we are out of place, because we have worked hard. We knew that we are as good as the other Southeast Asian countries, and that is how we started performing. And how it came, we don't know. We were just in good spirits, and we had decided to do our best, and that is how the Asian Games success that carried on. Incidentally, whatever tempo, whatever the motivation was offered that time, it had not carried forward on, the increasing strata basis. Because of this, what has happened was, even today we find that the number of medals what we our players are getting is proportionately much lower than what we should have got, considering the impetus given in 1982. And if you see from there, yes, same train continued, that somebody individual is doing something good, but the facilities went on increasing, that is for sure. The concept started, there was no professionalism, rather, but we wish to be contented when we received a letter from Government of India that India is proud of you. That is the biggest treasure, we still have that. And there was no question of any cash awards, whatever. I mean, we were not mentally prepared also, but that is how the we moved on. Another thing where I have noticed is that since then, uh, as compared to today's last 8 to 10 years, government has changed the gears. Amazing facilities. There are individual physios for the best players. You perform and you get everything what you want. You go on performing, don't worry on other aspects. You name where you want to go. Exposure. You want a coach, you want a personal trainer, you want a physio, you want a dietitian with you. Everything government has been spending so much, and that has made also a good impact. Another noticeably impact is like IPL. We had started Indian Badminton League about 10 years back, where on the basis of that our various, there were 8 teams. The players got an advantage of staying 15-20 days with Carolina Marin, the world champion, or some world champion from Malaysia. They are staying, playing, training together, so that mental block had started disappearing from then on. And we can see similar in IPL. We get so many second bench strength, third bench strength we have today, because everybody got an opportunity to show their mettle whenever there is an international opportunity comes.
That's true. So I want to move ahead and ask you something, Pradeepji. I hope you're around with us.
Then
You have.
I'm sorry.
You have also been a member. You have been a member of the National Selection Committee for almost 15 years now. Now, you tell us about the criteria for the selection of players. What has been your experience?
Yeah. As a player, I have experienced a lot of. Every player feels when he is not selected injustice, but so I also felt at times that I should have been. I should have got more exposures, or I should have got more opportunities, which I was deprived of for 2 reasons. One is there was no proper selection tournaments in place, whereby that if you perform well here, you are like sure to be elected. Plus, there was no regular clearance by Government of India at that time. Every time the association is sending the names of the players to the Ministry of Sports, and then they will decide on the basis of the foreign exchange availability. Okay, only 3 are allowed by government expense. If it is a 6-member team, then they used to say remaining 3 you manage. So their employers used to give them chance. some sponsor, they used to be regular Indian players. So all those things have disappeared. And what does a player want? Player will never say that when he is not up to the mark, he will never say he is up to the mark. If he is defeated by the other fellow, he will never say that I defeated him 4 times. This time I lost, you take me. No, he will say I lost to him. You, if you decide to take him, it's absolutely fine. But some systematic the criteria was not in place, and there is to be debate in the national federation, which I feel in most of these sports that is prevailing, and that need to be eradicated completely. That what I mean is that many times there is a discussion in the executive committee of various sports that if everything is clearly known that team will be selected on this, then what is the need of the selectors? So
Absolutely.
I always used to have a different feeling. I said, if the player knows that if he does well on these lines, what is wrong? He knows he is going to be selected. And if he doesn't do well, but if that is kept secret, and then he will have his own way. If the selection criteria is declared to him, he knows that within this framework, if I have to be a player of the Indian team, I have to do A, B, C, and then claim. These things, these things apparently came to the surface when I happened to be the effective member of the selection committee. So, in my the president of the National Federation was the chairman, and I was the vice chairman, and the other members, they were all respected top players. So all had similar feelings, and the criteria was circulated to all the players. That ministry also never raised any objections. That they knew that if you have world ranking, so much percentage. If you are a national champion, so much percentage. If you have been in national rankings, so much percentage. So in the selection committee, when I used to be there, Mr. Gopi Chand, Mr. Vimal Kumar, Mr. Dinesh Khanna, former Asian champion and a legend, Madhumita Bist, she is also a legend in badminton based in Delhi. So all these people used to be there, and we used to feel contented that we have not done injustice to any player. And that is why, if you see that there were not many any issues otherwise after selection, and this being an individual sport, still there is a lot of room. But my presence with the support of all these legends, that made the things more crystal clear. And then when the player knows that if he is doing well, he is going to be selected, so he has to focus only further to do well on the international scenario.
Absolutely. Pradeepji, you tell me, you are a sports person, of course, and have also served in various capacities as a coach, as a manager, an administrator, also have contributed to sports policy and also chaired a code of conduct committee. I mean, there are so many areas that you have been a part of, and so apart from being a player yourself. Which one is most challenging and which one is most rewarding?
Yeah, it is always correlation is important. If the criteria is clear, then selection is simple. The question comes when you want to select talent and you want to select promising juniors. Wherever these words come,
Right.
there is a room for somebody may push someone he feels he is promising. So otherwise, this challenge also can be met with, but like code of conduct or coach or working as an association in the association. So the challenging is to work as an association, because it is very common to saying an thankless job, and
I can understand.
it is like being a parent of a daughter for marriage. So in
Oh,
the marriage, so whatever you do, there are
it's
hardly
never enough.
hardly accolades. I'm talking about the earlier year, not now. Things have changed now. So this getting accolades is far away. The criteria is nobody criticizes. That means you are doing a good job. And the more
Okay.
transparency you try to keep, it is liked by everyone. But you can't satisfy everyone all the time. So that is the most challenging which I have experienced to be in that position. Because whenever somebody comes, like parents are there only when their child is doing well. When the child's best period is over, they are not bothered about the association. Till that time, their participation is maybe 300%. Similarly, there are these coaches devote so much time, they don't get any remuneration. Umpires, referees, they don't get any remuneration, whereby they will work in the office and try to get special leave, and from there come and attend the tournaments and do their job. So getting all those things arranged and getting things as a team, as an association, was more challenging. Being a coach, of course, if you are a professional coach, then your value increases or decreases on the basis of the your trainee, how they perform. So, but then this will become more effective and more visible after this Tokyo Olympics, because the way the prize money is showered by almost around more than 20 states individually, and that indicates that how much love and how much national feeling all these people have, that they have already declared a lot of prize money if those who are going to return with the medals. So all these things can definitely bring all these sports go in a very professional way, which should have been done much earlier. But there are various causes that even as a parent, when things are not very clear, then even take case of my, we have two daughters. So both of them are in USA. Both were good in sports. My elder daughter has played India in India Junior. She has represented Asian Junior Championship in Hong Kong, but she was good in sport. My younger daughter, she represented Mumbai in under 15 and there is semi-finals in the nationals in cricket, and she was a captain of the baseball team. But academically, they were good, and there was nothing in front where, even in spite of having played and devoted time for sports to achieve something in life, I hesitated and I did not put them for sports as a career. So I have wherever I have been in committees, I have always suggested them that first is we should ask ourselves, and we should ask any of these bodies, that they should answer the question that why should I send my children to sports? Because we know only these success stories, but we do not know how many other things. How are they today? Have they lost the track by ignoring academics, or can academics be added while coaching camps are being organized? So a lot of research and development, a lot of things need to be done, so that I mean, my both daughters, both were, I mean, they're meritorious. They came in the board, and on these lines, the PT teacher used to come, and whenever there used to be parents meeting, they used to come to me, and he used to look at me, and he used to look at my daughter, and he used to comment, wasted talent, you have wasted talent. But then I still remember these things.
There was a
But
reason for that.
yeah.
I
So
understand.
these are some of the things where we need to address if really we have to be an ideal sporting nation on
Absolutely.
their own. If and we should have things very clear. We cannot follow the footsteps of China, which is a socialist country. We cannot follow the footsteps of Europe or Western countries. So we have to devise our own methods, which are more compatible with the Indian environment and the Indian scenario. And that will take us, yes, progress. I am definitely saying there has been progress. There is trend is changing, and a lot of things are happening. But this it needs to be expedited. And this
I,
can happen only when government, wherever the government patronage comes and industrial patronage comes, things take off. That is what I feel.
I'm sure. In your talk, you just talked about the Tokyo Olympics. You made a brief mention to that. And in fact, for the viewers, there is a surprise element today. Can I call it a surprise, but not really, considering that the Olympics are really on? We have a reporter who is going to report about the whole day and the day before went by for the Olympics. So here we have Sandeep Sawan reporting to us. Sandeep is from Maharashtra, and he's going to talk to us. He's going to report in Marathi, and I think that's superlatively wonderful. So let's have him tell us about the Tokyo Olympics right from Tokyo itself. Here we are.
नमस्ते. मी इथे जपानच्या ऑलिम्पिक स्टेडियमच्या या मुख्य पत्रकार कक्षातून तुमच्याशी संवाद साधतो आहे. टोकियोमध्ये हे भव्य असं हे पत्रकार कक्ष उभारण्यात आलेलं आहे. ऑलिम्पिकसाठीच्या जगभरात कव्हरेज करणारे पत्रकार इथे आलेले आहेत आणि आज मी तिथून तुमच्याशी संवाद साधतो आहे. उत्तरा मोनेजींनी मला आपल्याशी संवाद साधण्याची विनंती केली होती आणि आज योगायोग पहा की आज ऑलिम्पिकमधला पहिला दिवस आहे आणि या पहिल्या दिवशी भारताला सिल्वर मेडल जिंकून दिलं आहे वेटलिफ्टिंगमध्ये चानू या आपल्या महिला खेळाडूने. वेटलिफ्टिंगमधलं खरं तर हे दुसरं आहे, परंतु एकूण भारताच्या ऑलिम्पिकच्या इतिहासामध्ये जर तुम्ही पाहिलं तर हा ऑलिम्पिकच्या इतिहासातला आजवरचा ऐतिहासिक मेडल ठरणार आहे. कारण PV सिंधूनंतर सिल्वर मेडल जिंकणारी ती दुसरी खेळाडू ठरलेली आहे. चानूशी आज सगळ्यात पहिल्यांदा चर्चा करायची संधी मला मिळाली. कधी कधी भाग्य तुम्हाला साथ देतं असं म्हणतात. इथे आल्यावर आम्हाला दर 3 दिवसासाठी आम्हाला क्वारंटाईन व्हावं लागत होतं आणि आमचं क्वारंटाईन दुपारी 2:30 वाजता संपत असल्यानंतर आम्हाला 2:30च्या नंतर प्रवेश मिळाला होता. आणि आज सकाळी सगळीकडे शूटिंगच्या स्पर्धा होत्या आणि आज शूटिंगमध्ये हमखास गोल्ड मेडल मिळणार होतं सौरभकडनं. तो सिलेक्शन याच्यामध्ये आज पहिला आला होता आणि फायनलमध्ये फक्त त्याला आपला परफॉर्मन्स टिकून ठेवता. म्हणजे भारताचा अवघा मीडिया शूटिंगकडे होता आणि आम्ही तिथे जाऊ शकत नव्हतो. मनामध्ये होती म्हणून आम्ही वेटलिफ्टिंग जो चाणू त्याच्यानंतर अर्ध्या तासाने असणारा इव्हेंट होता तिथे आम्ही धडकलो आणि योगायोग पहा की आज नेमका चानूने भारताला सिल्वर मेडल जिंकून दिलं आणि आम्ही त्या ऐतिहासिक याचे साक्षर होतो. तिला सगळ्यात पहिला प्रश्न जे मी आणि माझा एक सदस्य आम्ही दोघंच जण तिथे होतो, तिला सगळ्यात पहिला प्रश्नसुद्धा प्रेस कॉन्फरन्समध्ये विचारण्याची संधी मला मिळाली आणि तिने खूप छान उत्तर दिलं की आतापर्यंत मणिपूरची ओळख मेरी कॉम म्हणून होती, ती माझी दिदी आहे आणि तशीच ओळख यापुढेही राहावी. भलेही मी तिच्यापेक्षा एक जास्त चांगलं मेडल जिंकलं असेल सिल्वर मेडल, परंतु दिदीने आम्हाला मेडल जिंकण्याची एक आस जी आहे, एक इच्छा जी आहे ती आम्हाला मिळवून दिली आणि त्यामुळे यापुढेही मणिपूरची ओळख ही मेरी कॉम म्हणूनच राहिली पाहिजे. भलेही मी जरी सिल्वर मेडल जिंकलं असलं तरी मणिपूरची ओळख जी आहे ही माझ्यामुळे नाही तर मेरी कॉममुळेच राहिली पाहिजे आणि येणाऱ्या काळात भारतीयांना अनेक मेडल जिंकू द्याच्या शुभेच्छाही त्यांनी दिलेल्या आहेत. मला असं वाटतं हा जो खिलाडू वृत्तीपणा आहे, हाच खिलाडू वृत्त ऑलिम्पिकचं खरं ध्येय आहे. याही ऑलिम्पिकमध्ये तुम्हाला आठवत असेल टुगेदर हा एक अतिरिक्त असा ध्येय त्याच्यामध्ये जोडण्यात आलेला. ऑलिम्पिकचं जे ब्रीद वाक्य आहे त्याच्यामध्ये टुगेदर हा एक अतिरिक्त शब्द जोडण्यात आलेला आहे. याचा अर्थच असं आहे की आपण सांघिकपणे येणाऱ्या संकटाचा मुकाबला करू आणि सांघिकपणे विजय मिळवतो. मला असं वाटतं की आजच्या ऑलिम्पिकमध्ये आजचा पहिला दिवस जो होता ऑलिम्पिकमधला उद्घाटनानंतर त्याच्यामध्ये शूटिंगमध्ये आपली खूप निराशा झाली. अर्थात शूटिंगमध्ये अजूनही महाराष्ट्राची राई स्वर्णोबत आहे, तेजस्विनी सावंत आहे, परंतु इतर ठिकाणी जसं आपण म्हणतो की बाकीच्या ठिकाणी जसं आपण म्हटलं की मेडलची आपल्याला शक्यता भरपूर आहेत. आज तेजस्विनी सावंतचा अजून इव्हेंट बाकी आहे, राही सरनोबतचा इव्हेंट बाकी आहे. राहीकडनं या स्पर्धेमध्ये गोल्ड मेडलची अपेक्षा ठेवली जाते. त्यानंतर आजच्या दिवसभरामध्ये जो दिवस मावळला तोच मुळात वेटलिफ्टिंगच्या या सिल्वर मेडलने आणि मला असं वाटतं भारतीयांसाठी हा खरोखर आनंदाचा क्षण आहे. एका महिलेने आज हे सिल्वर मेडल जिंकलं आहे. योगायोग पहा, बरोबर 100 वर्षापूर्वी 1920 साली भारताची पहिली ध्वजधारक महिला होती. ती होती 400 मीटर ॲथलीटमधली खेळाडू. तिने भारताचा ध्वज जो आहे तो अँटवर्प ऑलिम्पिकमध्ये खांद्यावर व्हायला होता आणि 100 वर्षानंतर सिल्वर मेडल या जपानच्या टोकियो ऑलिम्पिकमध्ये एक पहिला महिला खेळाडूनेच भारताला मिळवून दिलं. त्यामुळे भारताचं पदकांचं खातं जे आहे हे महिलाने उघडलं आहे. तुम्हाला आठवत असेल ब्राझीलच्या रिओ ऑलिम्पिकमध्ये सुद्धा जी 2 मेडल मिळाली होती ती दोन्ही मेडल जी होती त्या महिलांनीच मिळवून दिली होती. महिलांनीच मिळवून दिली होती. सो येणाऱ्या काळात अशीच अनेक मेडल आपल्याला मिळतील अशी आपण आशा ठेवूया आणि इतरांप्रमाणे मीही तुमच्या वतीने या खेळाडूंना शुभेच्छा देतो आणि तुम्ही ऑलिम्पिक पाहत राहा. एवढंच. धन्यवाद.
So that was Sandeep Sawan with us right from Tokyo, giving us an update immediately after the inauguration of the Olympics, and India has had a silver, and he made a mention of that as well. Pradeep ji, talking about the Olympics, what are your comments on the Indian badminton team in Tokyo Olympics now?
For today's performance, I think PV Sindhu's match is tomorrow. The doubles pair have done exceedingly well. Chirag Shetty and Satvik Sai Reddy. I happened to be just before the pandemic started in April last year. Just 3 months before, I happened to be manager of the Indian team for Denmark Open and French Open, where Sindhu, Saina, everybody was there, and I was with these players for about 15 days. So I have observed Satvik Ranki Reddy and Chirag Shetty, and of course Sindhu and others. So I had a good opportunity to interact with them. I used to be physically present for all their practice sessions. I had a close observations on what training they are doing. They all are very focused. Let me tell you this. They are absolutely focused. and they are hungry to win matches, hungry to get some medals for the country. And this Chirag Satvik, incidentally, about 3 months back, he had COVID, and he has recovered after that. And the way they played today, and they defeated world number 3, and then that Chinese Taipei combination, they have been unbeaten for last 15 tournaments. And yeah, they have won world tour finals, and they have won all the tournaments. And on paper, nobody would have given big weightage to our Indian pair, but they have just done miracle today. Not miracle, they had the merit. In the closing stages, they kept their balance, they kept their fighting spirit, they showed high degree of patience, and they succeeded. There where they saved the 5 match points, and after that, finally, they beat world number 3. Tomorrow they are
I'm
playing
sure.
number 1, Indonesian pair. I feel whatever I have seen them earlier, and actually in Denmark and French Open, their confidence level must be very, very high. So this is the opportunity. They have capacity, and they should. And my best wishes, they can upset Indonesians also. So they
Definitely.
with 2 matches remaining in their group, they just need to win 1 match to move forward. Right? The
Okay. So
biggest
let's hope
hurdle.
that happens.
Yeah.
Let's hope that
And
happens. And so, yes, we have had a good time, and there's so much more that we can, keep talking to Pradeep. We have almost come to an end of our session today. We have slightly overshot it, but it has been a wonderful, wonderful, and a very fruitful discussion. And we have had a reportage from Tokyo that has added a good flavor to it. Pradeepji, you have so many layers to your personality and so much of an experience gathered over the years. It has really been a wonderful time talking to you. Well, the Olympics, friends, has persevered through wars, boycotts, and now a pandemic over its 125-year modern history. It is a story that millions have been, are, and want to be a part of. Olympics tells us about the undying spirit of human beings, and let us salute that spirit. You stay safe, and we will meet next Sunday on the Sports India channel for the world of sports. Till then, it's goodbye and take care. Stay safe.